Good morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotions. I'm spending some time in Proverbs, though. Really, I love getting back there in the book of Revelation and getting into the two witnesses and the great earthquakes. But that's kind of hard to do in 3 minutes on daily devotion. So let me bring you back again to Proverbs, to one simple little verse that can really change your life. He says in chapter 9, verse 25, "Fear of man will prove to be a snare." Another translation says, being afraid of people is a trap. I talked with a young pastor one time and I said, "Why in the world did you make that decision?" He said, "Well, I was afraid of that board member, or I was afraid of that wealthy person in the church." And I said, "So you've allowed your whole ministry to be destroyed because you were afraid of a person." How many mistakes have you and I made in life in our offices? How many mistakes have you and I made in our life growing up in college? How many mistakes, how many times have we put ourselves in a trap that brought destruction upon our own life because we were afraid of a person? Now, brothers and sisters, one of the things you have to learn in life is people can't hurt you that bad. I remember as a young boy growing up, I didn't grow up Christian. I'm kind of the exact opposite. But I remembered as a young boy, I learned very quickly that, number one, there's always somebody who can whip you, because I liked to fight when I was a boy. And number two, I always learned that, you'll heal up pretty quick. Even if you get whipped, you'll heal up and you'll be all right. Now, when you learn things like that, you learn not to be afraid of people. I was talking with a businessman the other day, and he said, "I was told by somebody that you walk around Tondo all by yourself." I said, "I do, I always have." I said, "Where I grew up makes the worst part of Tondos look bad." But then I told him something he didn't know. I said, "You're afraid to go down to Tondo, so you're afraid to do business there, you're afraid to buy land and build things there, but what you don't understand is that Tondo has rules. If I'm walking the street of Tondo and somebody steals my wallet, and if I yell thief," I said, "everybody will chase him down, and I better hurry up and get there because they'll hurt the guy really badly before I get there." I said, "If I'm walking down Ayala Avenue and I yell thief, everybody will look at me like, 'Don't bother me.'" There are rules in Tondo. You don't need to be afraid of people. I once looked at a man one time and I said, "Show me who you're afraid of and I'll show you your prejudices." If you're afraid of somebody, there's probably some prejudice down there in your heart about that person. What you have to learn to do in life is just recognize, I am who I am and I am what I am. And what other people say and do is not going to change who I am and what I am. What other people say is not going to change the truth. So there's really nothing people can do to me. I don't need to be afraid of people. Now, if you learn to get over that fear of people, you're going to find that life will be a lot easier. You're going to find that you can't be controlled, you can't be manipulated, and you don't fall into traps of your own making and then get bitter at everybody else. Learn to not be afraid of people. Now you say, "Well, Pastor Summerall, that's really easy for you to say. You're 6 foot, 240 pounds. Yeah, I can sit on most people and turn them into a pizza." But there's a funny thing that happens when you turn 50. Every man, and we don't even like to talk about it, guys, but all of a sudden we realize we're not what we used to be. I remember I was walking through Pandaka, and I was maybe 52, 53 at the time, and there was about 5 or 6 guys standing up ahead of me, and normally I would have never thought anything about it. Because if those boys were going to take me on, give me a stick or something, and I can hold my own. They might whip me, but I can hold my own. But for the first time, I was like 52, 53 years old, I realized, you know what? I couldn't hold my own against those guys anymore. Now, some guys at that point start carrying a gun. I'm not going to carry a gun. What am I going to do, shoot somebody and put it on television? Preacher shoots people. No, every man has to learn to face his own fears and choose not to be afraid of people. Now, I've talked with you about several angles of this today. Whether it's what people say about you, whether it's what people can do to you, whatever it is, fear will put you into a trap. And then when you get destroyed, then you get bitter against those people that you were afraid of. Wouldn't it be wiser to just back up and not be afraid of people?